What's going on? Oh, okay. Mic's not muted. I had to make sure it wasn't. What's going on, guys? So today I wanted to talk about how to engage top tier matches, how to just some tips that I figured would be helpful. I've been doing I've been dabbling in the review, more technical side of War Thunder, and I think since Tier 5 again is my niche, my thing, I think that I can definitely give a little bit of tips for anybody who's new going into it. Just right off the bat, I just want to say I'm not the best player in War Thunder, but I would say I'm competent, especially at these tiers. It's my phone. Let me put that on silent. So, I have a little sticky note with some bullet points because I am not the most structured human being. I will just talk about everything at random, so I figure we'll put this into structure. Now, the gameplay in the background, the first video is me playing the Chieftain, so nobody has to bitch about cheat FS, cheat FS. And then after that, I have a Leopard game that's, just a couple kills in the Leopard. But this is actually a really, really good Chieftain game. So the first thing we're going to talk about is armor. Armor at top tiers is a lot different than armor at bottom tiers. It's more of a, it just kind of makes you feel good, and it's a very random thing. You can't rely on armor at top tiers at all. Cheat FS, ATGMs, bombs, everything. Everything at top tier will kill you regardless of your armor. Now, will your armor stop stuff like that IS-4 right there, or the T-10 or whatever that was? Yeah, your armor will stop shells on occasion, but you can't rely on it because I make these, I'm bouncing here too, but I make this IS-4 just, feel like a little kid. Just toast them. And it's just because the armor is not as good as it is at lower tiers. You run into a Tiger too, and you're like, oh, that front plate I can't go through. Most of the time at top tier, you have the equipment or the ammo types to go through that. So that will segue into my next point, ammo. There's a couple different types of ammo at top tier that, you need to learn, understand, and figure out how to deal with. Because, as much as everybody wants to cry and complain about it, there are people using cheat FS. I'm not the minority in that. A lot of the Leopard players who play the Leopard use only Heat FS. So that's just how it works. You can complain about it, but you gotta understand when you run into a Leopard, just assume he's got Heat FS. So that's my biggest thing is when you run into tanks that can have heat, just suppose that they have it. Just assume that they have it and deal with that accordingly. Don't stick yourself out and be like, oh, well, if he has APDS, he'll bounce. What if he doesn't? There's no point in taking that risk. Now, there are a couple other ammo types that are pretty good. There's heat, obviously, which is just the end-all, be-all. APDS for like the Chieftain and stuff like that are really good shells. There's Hesh, and they all handle a little bit differently. APDS bounces a little bit easier. Heat is like the universal round. Hesh doesn't really bounce ever, but it can only pen what it pens. So like 150 millimeters, I think, is the Hesh pen on the 120. So around that. Now, learning other tanks. This is our next point. So the ammo types, all I want to say is just my tip, my advice is just assume that everybody has cheat FS if they're shooting at you. If you run into a Chieftain, assume that he might hit you with Hesh or APDS. If he has APDS, you're not really going to bounce those reliably. They're really fast rounds. They have a lot of pen. Learning other tanks. In the hangar, there is the armor profile viewer, and you can learn the inside of enemy tanks. That is the biggest thing, I would say, about top tier matches is most of the tanks at top tier have big ammo storages in one section of the tank. So, for example, the T-54, right there, you see me hit the ammo. Well, I hit the fuel tank, which detonated the ammo. But it is in the front left side of the hull. And if you didn't know that, you didn't know where they aim on the T-54, you could easily just kill one crew member. So figuring out where like the ammo storages are, the ammo rack for the tanks, really, really helps you. And then just always aim for those. So on like the T-10, it could be a kind of daunting tank to fight because it has this Russian spaced armor on the sides. You don't know where to hit it, but you can hit the side of the turret and hit the ammo rack that's always in the back of the turret. Or to the left or the right of the driver, there's always going to be 3 shells. Same thing with the Chieftain. I think it's to the left or the right of the driver. The M60 has one that's behind the driver on the left-hand side. The Leopard is the front right hull. T-54 is front left, if you're looking at it. And I mean, there's other ones, but those are the big ones off the top of my head. I know like a Tiger 105 always has ammo in the back of the turret on the left-hand side. There's just things that you learn when you're looking at these tanks, and I'll try to find it and link it down below, but there is a Reddit article that shows you how much ammo you should carry, which is another thing. So you should carry ammo that only fills one ammo rack of your tank, because if you carry more than that, you have various shells lying around in ready racks in your tank, and they can get detonated by the slightest ATGM or anything like that. So that'll stop you from dying as often. You'll just have overmatches and shots that go through. And you'll also kill tanks a lot quicker because you're always detonating the ammo rack. Now, the fourth point that I'd like to make is learning your tank. So every tank in this game plays a little bit differently, especially at top tiers. Those small skills make a world of difference. 5 kph on a tank makes a world of difference getting into a different spot. A lot of things that happen with Leopard players, for example, is I get a lot of comments of people saying like, Slick, how do I play the Leopard? And and then there are a lot of other people who think the Leopard is just the easiest tank to play, and it does have a learning curve. That thing is, it has so much speed that it will get you in trouble if you don't maintain it. I'm not saying sit in the back and snipe. If you utilize that speed, it can really help you. You see how I'm playing the Chieftain here? I haven't moved off this rock and I've gotten 5 kills, or I'm going to get 5 kills. And that's just because the Chieftain is a hold down monster. It's not fast enough to move into crazy spots. If I was in the Leopard, I would have moved up here, got a couple kills, and already been out of this spot. Just because you have to learn your tank. You have to learn what it's good at. Chieftain's a really good defensive tank. It's a really good sniping tank. It has very little bullet drop on the APDS shells. It's not super good at maneuvering, but it has a great turret, and so on and so forth. And you start to learn what tanks do what well. So it's like the Leopard is a good flank and spank tank. It's good at getting spots fast. The IT-1 is good at just being broken. I'm kidding. But if you learn how your tank plays and start to play it to its style and be very patient with it, you'll start to do better and have better results. That also counts as learning where your ammo rack is and trying to hide it. If you're in a Leopard, try to hide that left side of your hull, because that's where your ammo rack is. And yeah, maybe you'll lose a driver, but you might be able to shoot back, and so on and so forth. And learning where your gunner is and where their gunner is and stuff like that, which really helps. Next point is the maps. Learning maps and learning favorite positions is very, very key too. There are a lot of maps in this game, and knowing every single one like the back of your hand, while it would be helpful, is difficult. So I would say find some spots that you have success in, that you're comfortable with. I know like that spot that I used in the Chieftain video, the Chieftain replay, is my absolute favorite spot on that map, and it's my favorite side on that map. You just find things that are comfortable and you go there, and if you keep going there and like they give you success, then that's good. So you have to find good spots on maps that you like. Find a route to rush if you're in the Leopard that you like to do, and switch it up just to learn the map a little bit, and also try to learn spots that enemies will go. You'll start to notice like there are spots where there's always an enemy. You'll watch this Leopard replay and you'll see me check this rock across the map on Carpathians, because ATGMs always go to that rock. So it's like you start to learn that stuff. And last but not least, it's just a general synopsis, I guess, right? Is that how you say it? The meta. Learning the meta of the game and what's hot right now and what's not, really helps you to have good results. So, maybe you like the M103, but it's not really a meta tank right now. It's not really the tank that's doing all the work. It has a long reload with the big gun that doesn't really have the big oomph. So it's like, yeah, you could play the M103 if you really like it, but a better option would be just to play into the meta, play a Leopard, get good with that tank, and you'll have better results. You'll help your team win and stuff like that. So it's if you really want to do well at top tiers, you got to play the tanks that are doing well at the time. And it's sad, but that's the truth. So it's like in Call of Duty. If you're playing competitive Call of Duty, You use the the tanks. You use the guns that are buffed at the time, that are good at the time, and then when they get nerfed, you use something else, and that's kind of how it goes. Japanese tanks are hot right now. The Leopard, as always, IT1s, ATGMs are really good right now. The ZSU, stuff like that. You just kind of use it. And I know it sounds weird that I'm condoning things that I complain about, but I complain about them because they piss me off and I die to them. But I'm more mad about myself because everything in the game has its counter, technically. Aside from the IT1's broken ammo rack, everything in the game can die. So that is my little tip video for Tier 5. I hope you guys get some help from this. I hope this helps you guys. Hope you learned something. If you did, you should tell me down below. If I left anything out that you think is worth mentioning, comment down below. We can have a little discussion, a little bit of a tutorial series. And yeah, I've been dealing with some computer issues again, so I think it's time. I do have to just buy a new computer. I think this is the 3rd time that it's happened, so we're gonna start working on that. So I don't have the most reliable I can't record reliably. You'll notice that there was a couple cuts in this video, and the reason for that is I keep ending my recordings like after I do something good, just so they save, just in case the computer freezes. So yeah, it's been interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.